Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. The day has finally come. The SEGA Genesis Mini has finally arrived. Is this just another hopeless nostalgic cash grab, or do you need to add the SEGA Genesis Mini to your collection? What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking the Karminator. It's an Imperial Dopplebock Lager by Hoppin Brewery.
It sounds delicious. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's talk about the SEGA Genesis Mini.
Country known as the NES Punk, and you are watching Gaming Off the Grid. Right now you're on the grid watching on YouTube though, so you have power and electricity.
All right, here we go. The SEGA Genesis Mini is here, and why the hell are we so excited for this thing?
I have no idea, because we were both Nintendo kids. You think we would be so excited for the NES and Super Nintendo Classics, which we were. Those things were awesome. But when this thing got announced, and when we got this thing, dude, I felt like a little kid. I was like, oh my god, it's here, it's here, it's here. And we plugged it in, and we started playing it, and it's just awesome. I'm speechless. Like, I'm so excited.
The nostalgia bug's biting really hard. I think part of it is the fact that we did not really own the Genesis growing up. Yeah. It's not since we started collecting and started this channel, really, that we dove into the collection. So to us, all these new games, you know, that we're hoping to get a chance to play, some of them for the first time, honestly. So the first thing that jumped out to me when we started unboxing this was the level of detail. They did such a good job, I feel like, with the packaging.
Oh, the box is beautiful.
It is, and this thing is just beautiful. The cartridge slot opens, which really doesn't serve much of a purpose, but you got the volume switch, the reset, the on and off.
I love how the volume switch actually moves. It doesn't do anything, but it's just like, that's so cool. It's just a little toy.
Yeah, it is really neat, and the little side door slot, comes off. It doesn't really serve a ton of a purpose, but it's really neat. I think they just did a really good job with the aesthetic. The controllers, I think, are a very interesting thing to bring up because I think they feel very, very close to the original, but they've got a matte finish on them, which the originals I feel like were more of a glossy finish.
Yeah. And what's really weird is growing up and like revisiting all the old Sega stuff, it always felt like clanky, and it felt like just like the plastic wasn't good. But on this, it actually feels like good and tight, and it feels kind of like a Nintendo built product.
No, God! No! God, please, no! No!
Here's where the rub happens with the controllers. There are some games on this collection, Street Fighter in particular is one that jumps out to me, that you really kind of need a 6-button controller.
Yes.
But it's packed with 2 3-button controllers. And some of the other regions, I believe, got the 6-button option. So that's perplexing. But the win would be the controller cable, or the cord, is so much longer than the Nintendo ones, which that is a whole nother topic. Why the hell Nintendo did that, I don't know. But these we were playing clear across the room. It's fine.
It's badass. The controllers are sweet. There's like a red accent color on the controller, which is really cool.
The inlays on like the A, B, and C.
And I don't think I've ever seen a Genesis controller have that, but I really like that. And one thing that I did notice about the Mini is on the bottom, there's like a purple strip, and on the original Genesis, it's a red strip. So I don't know why they did that, but it's kind of cool because I love the color purple.
Yeah, it's more of it didn't come off. Even on the box, it looks more red. There is one saving grace. You guys maybe have seen us talk about these on the channel before. The Retrobit 6-button Genesis controllers work with this. It's a USB controller. These are great. They're well built. They're actually licensed by SEGA. So we picked a couple of these up so that we could have those options.
But it's kind of annoying too, because this was $80, and then you got to get the controllers, and if you have 2 people, you got to get 2 controllers. So that's pretty pricey if you want those controllers.
Yeah. So let's talk about the games. This is another spot where I feel like this mini console maybe has a little bit of a leg up on the NES Classic and the SNES Classic because there are 40 games.
40 games plus 2. So there's actually 42.
Yes, that's right. The
actually, there's one game that has 3 games in it. So what is that, 45 if you're being technical? But that's insane. And it's so cool because it comes with 3 games that were never released in North America. So that's just icing on this delicious cake.
Yeah, and of the games that you're speaking of, we got Darius, which is a side-scrolling shooter, which we love shooters.
Oh, yeah.
Tetris, which everybody's played Tetris, but you love puzzle games. And then the Wily Wars is a really unique addition to this because it was never released in the States. So you get the first 3 Mega Man games, the NES games, in one place, which tend to be pretty expensive games for collectors. So,
and I love how there's 3 games in one game. That's badass. And then you get Darius, which is a fantastic shooter, which we love our shooters.
Yep, absolutely. That was only an arcade release, I believe. So this is the first time, like it says release 2019.
Yeah, it does. It says release 2019, but then it also says like the actual date it came out.
Yeah.
And then Tetris, which is also badass. And dude, Tetris gets intense quick on this bad boy. I was sweating, I was getting nervous, but I was enjoying it.
Yeah, it's all killer and no filler here on the SEGA Genesis Mini. You're never gonna make everybody happy with one of these until they make one that has like online connectivity and you can update the games as you wish, which somewhere down the line that will probably happen with a future mini console of some sort. But I feel like they did a pretty darn good job of capturing the library. I remember we did a couple episodes on games we were hoping were on there, and I think the first one we did, all those games ended up being on.
Yeah, which is badass.
I think the next one we did was kind of hit and miss, but there are some games that we're like, God dang, I wish this was on there, and maybe we'll do a video on that moving forward, but very pleased with the game selection.
Oh, the game selection is so sweet, and I love the way the menu looks when you first start the game. So it's all, you can scroll down this way and it's all organized, and it starts off being organized by year released, which is really cool.
Yep.
But then you can change that to genre, you can change that to 1 to 2 player. It's kind of cool how you can do the different filters. And then there's all these cool options and settings, which is really cool. You can change languages.
Yeah, so if you go to the Japanese region and you go back out to the main menu, you've got all the Japanese box art. It changes from Genesis up top to saying Mega Drive.
Oh, it's badass.
And it does that for whatever region you select. We went to German the next time and it says, Mega Drive has the different covers. And the time that they put in to upload all those different cover arts, it's just kind of neat that they did that. Does it serve much of a purpose? No, but it's cool as hell.
It's really freaking cool. And like the intro song that's playing while like the main menu's up is pretty catchy, and it kind of takes me back to the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, it definitely has a good feel. The music's done right. I feel like the menus are really neat. The other settings are pretty commonplace for these mini consoles. You've got your ratio, your screen ratio. You've got the ability to add scan lines, which we play these on CRTs in here anyway, so that does not apply to us.
You can put the backgrounds in. Yeah.
And the backgrounds are a little limited. I would say they're kind of seem half-assed a little bit, so we just did the black one. But overall, pretty darn neat. And $79.99 is the retail price. I think if you're looking for some of that Sega Genesis nostalgia, it is probably worth the money.
And we don't even have that much nostalgia to Sega, and we are jacked about this, so that's pretty badass. They did a fantastic job with this mini console. I love it.
Well, and I'm really happy for Sega as a brand, because the games ones that have been cranked out, there were 2 or 3 of them, 4, I can't remember. They were horrible, and I really feel like it kind of tarnished the Sega image, almost made it seem like a bargain bin product, right? You could buy it at Dollar General. It just wasn't a good look for Sega. So for them to get this right just feels good as a retro gaming fan, and I think that means more to me than almost anything else. Another thing worth noting is the emulation. That's a big piece. Is it done right? We aren't super technical with this stuff, and it feels pretty darn good.
Yes, it does.
We did sense a little bit of input lag here and there, and there have been tests done by other YouTubers that say there's a little bit of sound delay. But we're here to tell you, it's probably not much worse than what is on the NES and SNES.
Yeah, they're all going to have delays because you're not playing authentic, real hardware. But as casual gamers and like people that don't really know the games, I didn't notice anything. Like I was playing a bunch of different games and it felt tight, it felt real, but I'm new to the game, so
yeah, it's one of those things. Is it worth it? You have to read your own mail. Are these games going to play better than a cartridge? Absolutely not. They never will. A cartridge on a CRT is the way to go, but the convenience and having everything in one little thing is pretty nice. Like, we're getting ready to go on a trip this weekend, and we're going to be taking this with us in our carry-on bag, right? And that's better than throwing 13 cartridges in there and a Sega Genesis and the controllers, blah 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 blah. So it's convenient, and if you're a collector, just even as a display piece, I mean,
it's
look
beautiful.
at this. This thing is just gorgeous. I think it is really neat. If you're a game collector or just wanting to experience some retro games on the casual, I think this is a must-own.
Yeah, I definitely, dude, is it worth it? Heck yes. This might be, it's hard for me to say this, but this might be my favorite mini console. That is way hard for me to say because I love the NES, I love the Super Nintendo. Not even going to talk about the PS1 Classic because that thing is a piece of shit. But this is amazing.
Yeah, and I don't want to go that far yet, but in the moment, being a prisoner of the moment, I would agree with you. Because, again, not growing up with this, I'm so excited to spend some time with this, and it makes me almost feel like I'm going over to my neighbor's house to play his Genesis, and just so many good memories with that. So the Genesis Mini is on point. Let's talk about the Hoppin Frog brew that we're drinking today.
The Sega Genesis Mini is on point, and this beer is on point. Wow. This is a really good, smooth beer. There's a lot of rich, deep flavors, and this is a good beer.
So I've had a lot of Doppelbocks. I've never had an Imperial Doppelbock. This is definitely barrel aged. It is very, very, got a very thick mouthfeel.
Yeah, it does.
It's almost a sweeter beer. I really, really like this. The whiskey notes come through. I do pick up on some of the alcohol, but it's a very smooth beer for what it is. And this is, what, the second Hoppin' Frog beer?
Second or third, yeah.
And wow, this brewery is unbelievable.
Dude, they're so good.
This beer is fantastic. This is a A+ beer. All right, in the comment section below, let us know, did you pick up the SEGA Genesis Mini? Are you excited? What games weren't on the console that you're fired up about? Or do you feel like SEGA did a really good job? We are all in on this thing. We are thoroughly enjoying it. Very happy we picked it up day one. And there's not much else we can say about it. SEGA did a great job with this. Kudos, SEGA, from breaking those ties with AtGames and going your own way. Very, very proud of them.
And I think I might have a favorite game on this already, and it's Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I just love puzzle games, and this thing is freaking sweet. I've never played it before, and I'm addicted. It's badass. I know that's probably, you guys are like, this game sucks, but I love it.
Him and his puzzle games. Well, you know the drill. We always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking, and if you can, get out and play some of the SEGA Genesis Mini. We'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
Check it, check it, check it, check it, check, 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 check. What? Dude, I like it. He's celebrating.
You want to leave it?
I think it's been in the past couple.
Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. The SEGA Genesis Mini has finally arrived. Is
this just a box?
What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Karminator. It's a Imperial Dopplebock Lager by Hoppin Frog.
What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking the Karminator. It's an Imperial Dopplebock Lager by Hoppin Frog.
All
That's
right.
a lot of freaking words.
It is.
Damn it. Doppelbock, Imperial Dopplebock. So many words. So little time.
Is this just another nostalgic cat? Hopeless.
Cow?
Moo.